Hello, my fellow gacha newbies. This is Suspect Amy, and I'm here to do a quick video about how I went about using revenue to decide what gacha game to try next. I'm currently playing Epic 7, War of the Visions, and Path to Nowhere, and I'm far enough along in these games that I can complete all of their dailies combined in around 20 minutes, so that gives me a bit of wiggle room to try out something different. If you browse around the App Store, there's an unusually high number of fantasy RPG gachas that I've never really heard of. Starting a new gacha is no easy feat. There's always a huge download, and it takes you a few days of playing to get your head wrapped around the mechanics and to push content and settle into your dailies. I did actually try a bunch of these, but after some big-time investments, I realized that many of these aren't for me. The latest one I'm trying, Lord of Heroes, is surprisingly good. I recommend it just for the fun campaign, but I'm not sure if this will be a long-term game for me just yet. So there has got to be a better way to find a good gacha. This is taking way too much effort and time. The things I want in a gacha game are what everyone wants: fun community, good quality of life, and enjoyable late-game content. Hopefully a game that's going to stick around for a bit too. How am I supposed to find a game like this? After brainstorming a bit, it just occurred to me, I can totally use revenue here. If I compare a game's monthly revenue last year to the same months this year, I can quickly tell if the game is losing steam or gaining momentum. Also, if the game has been around at least a year like this, it's likely to have late-game content, and the revenue will show if it's keeping their players happy. Obviously, looking at just 1 month is a bit tricky with gacha games. For example, Fate Grand Order can run like a super cute Astolfo swimsuit and break the bank, so I'll be looking at the last 2 months, May and June, and just compare whichever is the lowest numbers from year to year. First off, if you're curious how the games I'm playing right now stack up, Epic 7 came out in August 2018, and yes, this game shows very solid resiliency over the last year. People think this game is dying, but it's clearly not, netting pretty much the same monthly revenue as last year. This is the perfect example of a game that's keeping its loyal customer base happy. As for War of the Visions, this game seems to be fine. I don't have numbers from last year, but this year it's showing a pretty consistent monthly revenue of around 700K. Nothing amazing, but definitely nowhere near end of service. And Path to Nowhere. This game launched in October 2022, and it also looks very consistent over the last year. 3 great games with loyal fan bases, pretty stable income, and a lot of content. So, what should I try next? Let's look at global games that made at least 500K per month last year and see how they do this year. If you're wondering why I'm missing some games, like AFK Arena, Fire Emblem, and 7 Deadly Sins, these weren't on some of the lists I looked at, similar to War of the Visions, so I ended up skipping those. I also skipped Hoyoverse games because everyone and their mom knows what those are about. Let's start with Nikke. This was an idle gacha released in November 2022. Is this something I would play? This game still makes an insane amount of money, but it does seem like it's trending down. I do like the mechanics behind idle RPGs, but my biggest gripe here is specific to Nikke, where this game has very poor support for landscape last time I tried it, and it was almost unplayable on my iPad. I'm not sure if they fixed that. Summoner's War is the oldest game on my list. This one came out in June 2014. Does the revenue line up for me? It definitely does. This is crazy. For a 10-year-old game like this to not only make consistently high revenue, but it even looks like it's growing year over year is just insane. My interest is piqued, and I might have to finally see what this game is all about. Fate Grand Order was released way back in July 2015. Would I play this game based on its revenue? Yes, I absolutely would. This game is doing exceptionally well given how old it is. I usually don't play games based on anime shows, but this could be the exception. Memento Mori is another idle RPG that came out in October 2022. How about this one? While it's still making very good money, I feel like this is trending downhill. It has a unique art style, but other than that, I don't think this has enough differentiating features from other idle games. If I was going to play an idle game, I would probably just play Nikke. Azur Lane came out in May 2017. How does this stack up to my challenge? Not good. The same deal with Memento Mori. It still makes great money, but there's a bit of a downward trend here. I heard the art is great and the battleship theme is fun, but at this stage, there's probably better games I could try. Arknights. For some reason, I thought this was older than Epic 7, but it's actually almost a year newer. This revenue looks worse for Arknights than it actually is. The 2-month period from last year had unusually high numbers, and last June the game had unusually low numbers. If you look through other months sporadically, Arknights consistently nets over $1 million. The main reason I won't be playing Arknights is because it's a tower defense gacha and I'm already invested in Path to Nowhere. Blue Archive. Released in February 2021. Get ready to have your mind blown. This is actually quite shocking. I don't think I've seen anything quite like this. Blue Archive seems to make more money as time goes on, with a huge jump in revenue year over year. I mentioned in my last video that I recently reinstalled this because I want to figure out what the heck is going on. Outer Plane. This was made by the same company that made Epic 7, and it was released in May of last year. Would I give this game a try? This is also very surprising. I assumed this was going the reverse direction, but I couldn't be more wrong. The game is incredibly stable, matching its launch month revenue on the regular, and it might even be gaining momentum based on what I'm seeing. Limbus Company was released on February last year. Based on revenue, should I give this game a shot? I most definitely should. Here's another game with a stable monthly average over the years, and what seems like a loyal fan base. There's obviously something these players love about this game to continue to stick around. There are 4 global gacha games that made over 500K last year, but are taking a pretty big hit this year. Ether Gazer, Tower of Fantasy, Eversoul, Punishing Grey Raven. These games are not looking good at all. My guess is they'll likely be around for another year or two, but things are looking really bleak after that. Last but not least, can anyone tell me what game this is right here? This, my friends, is Heigen Eruthil. I recall quite a few gacha YouTubers reviewing this game, and its release had some built-up anticipation. It caught my eye because it actually launched during the months I was researching, and this is a really sad story. Its launch month only made 130K, which is shockingly bad. The month after launching, revenue dropped 40%, and that was it. The game never recovered from this. The last new hero came out around 7 months ago, so it's obvious the company has stopped supporting this game. Last month it made 10K. This is crazy. I looked around at some reviews and they were generally positive. Personally, I think the name of this game is horrendous. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I misspelled it trying to Google stuff. Most people don't even know how to pronounce it. Now I absolutely have to try this game. The curiosity is killing me. Anyways, in the end I decided to reactivate my old Blue Archive and Outer Plane accounts to see what's new. Then I'm going to mess around with Heigan or Ruthhill for a bit, but I'll likely settle into either FGO, Summoner's War, or Limbus Company once all is said and done. I haven't quite made up my mind, but I feel like any of these games will be a great choice. Do you guys have a preference on any of the games I noted? I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. That's all I have today. Thanks for watching my video. Bye everyone.